صباح الخير وأهلا
Good
وسهلا
morning and welcome to the second session and the first day of the ARIJ 17th Annual Conference Forum. I'm Samia Ayash in charge of communication in ARIJ to address an important topic where we host a number of speakers. But at the beginning, I would like to point that the internet connection is open to everyone on public convention. If there are any problems accessing the internet, I would also recommend that you use hashtag of the forum ARIJ24. Our session today is entitled Trust and Tech, Can AI Uphold Journalistic Standards? Today, this session has two inspiring presentations through which we present the overlapping of the AI and journalism. We would explore whether the AI tools are able to support the morals of the journalistic work and to retain credibility while strengthening the integrity of the press work in the speedy technology world. The question is, how can a fact checker and a journalist work with these tools in a participatory manner as opposed to a competition or competitive? As I said before, today we have two presentations. The first one is entitled Smarter and More Speedy. How did full fact change the fact checking in Arabic? And the other presentation is entitled Where Can We Find Money? Journalism and Artificial Intelligence. This session would include quick presentations. The speakers would have 10 minutes each, and then we would open the floor for questions if we have the adequate or enough time, and through the virtual sessions. In the first presentation, we have our colleague Fatima Bani Ahmed. She's a fact checker and project specialist at ARIJ's AFCN. And we have Kate Wilkinson, product manager of AI at Full Fact. Then the second presentation is entitled, Where Can We Find Money? Journalism and Artificial Intelligence. We would be listening to Ross Settles. He's an academic and an advisor to speak about this overlap. First, I would like to invite our colleagues Fatima and Kate to join us on the podium here to do their presentations. And then we move to the second presentation and then the Q&As. We have a surprise for you. Full Fact AI will speak Arabic in 2024. We would be announcing a partnership with Full Fact supported by Google News to transform these tools into Arabic language through the annotation and an evaluation of the data, transforming them to Arabic language. This was last year's announcement for those who were present here in the ARIJ forum by Saja Murtada, the director of AFCN, and our colleague Andrew of the AI department in the Full Fact institution. This announcement was to translate the Full Fact tools into Arabic for the AFCN community to have a fact-checking and Arab fact-checking community that is able to monitor the claims or the allegations. It takes us a lot of time and effort to explore the Arab content in the Arab world that is full of challenges and assumptions in a less time and effort about the allegations that are worth fact-checking to do that in the best way possible. The fact checkers, due to this collaborations that is supported by GNI, the Google News initiative, they can now access full fact tools in Arabic and can monitor through the websites as well as through the radio stations and through social media, which is something wonderful and we are all proud of. our colleague Kate, since the end of 2023, we started with the annotation process and with training programs at the fact-checking institutions so as to make them be able to use the full fact tools. So Kate worked on more than 15 main sessions and selective ones for the fact-checking organizations. She worked on also individual studies with these organizations to enable them better to access these tools. Kate, we would like to go with you to the other aspect, which is the technical aspect.
Thank you, Fatima. So FullFact has been developing technology to increase the scale, speed, and impact of fact-checking for nearly a decade now. And today, our AI-powered tools are used by 45 fact-checking organizations across 26 countries in 3 languages, English, French, and Arabic. And many of our users will be with us this weekend at the conference. So if you're a user of FullFact AI, give us a wave. FullFact AI has been built and designed by fact-checkers for fact-checkers. And our tools support and solve common problems and challenges that fact-checkers face around the world. The first, as Fatima has mentioned, is the challenge of monitoring a very diverse media landscape that publishes 24 hours a day across multiple platforms. And we've been able to extend this technology to Arabic fact-checkers so that they can monitor the media that Fatima has mentioned. The second challenge that we've solved is alerting fact-checkers when things that they know are false because they've fact-checked them are repeated again, so that they can take instant action and address these falsehoods quickly. And lastly, we're able to offer real-time transcription, claim detection, and falsehood detection for live fact-checking efforts. Over the last year, we have expanded our language support to include Arabic, and this was made possible through a collaboration with ARIJ and the AFCN. Together, we have undertaken testing, data annotation, translation, and technical development. Working with Arabic presented some challenges. Arabic's intricate grammar and the same spelling for words that have different meaning sometimes led to mismatched claims. Compound nouns and word fragments were a new challenge for the team at FullFact. A core feature of our tools, as I've said, is recognizing when a claim that we know is false because we have debunked it is repeated again. Initially, when it came to rolling out this feature in Arabic, we translated our English training data into Arabic and reused our existing models. But the models were too tailored to the English language structure and to United Kingdom-specific topics, which led to poor results. Our next approach, which has been much more successful, was to use generative AI. Instead of translating our English examples, we started with Arabic claims that we knew were false because they had been fact-checked by the fact-checkers. Using generative AI, we were then able to create many different versions of these false claims and scale them significantly. This allowed us to build training data specifically suited to the Arabic language. These tools are not designed to replace fact-checkers. Rather, they support their efforts and they scale their impact, as Fatima is going to explain now.
I would like to let you know that this is one of the main important projects at AFCN. Of course, we have many projects. I consider this one of the most distinguished one in the FCN family. This is how we consider it. The responding why is it an important project of AFCN? Because we transformed the monitoring of the claims of the Arab fact-checking community from a manual one to one relying on artificial intelligence, which is a great achievement, which we are proud of. And due to the fact that we made the fact-checking organizations think about planning to link the claims, the technology alone would not be enough. Technology also needs planning, needs a clear plan, a clear written plan, so that we would be able to use such tools effectively. This is what the fact-checking organizations worked on, utilizing the full fact tools, as Kate has mentioned. Also, due to the features and of this, as Kate said, we lessened the time and effort. Fact-checking organizations used to take at least 5 hours a day to find the claims that are worth fact-checking, to debunk them or to get the facts out of them. Today, getting the claims or extracting the claims take a few hours as opposed to before. And these are at the fact-checking organizations who use the tools. They are 26 organizations across the Middle East and North Africa. In addition, we have enabled the fact-checking organizations to monitor claims in the live YouTube speeches. For the first time, fact-checkers have been able to do that. And after 6 months of utilizing these tools, this tool is the main one for some of the fact-checking organizations to monitor the claims against in the Arab content. More than 200 articles, fact-checking articles during 2024 have been worked on and monitored by fact-checkers through the use of such tools. So, Kate, what are the next steps? Are we going to stop, or what is next?
So we are looking forward to a continued collaboration with ARIJ and the AFCN to continue to support Arab fact-checkers who are using these tools. And the fact-checkers have also shared with us what they need most when it comes to technical support. And this will guide what we work on in the future with ARIJ and the AFCN. Looking ahead, we are focused on deepening our tools' functionality in Arabic with a special focus on dialects. Further data annotation and translation will ensure that our tools are more accurate and relevant across regions. Collaboration between fact-checking organizations is a priority that we intend to support with new features. In moments of crisis or in high-stakes events like elections, 3 of which we've supported with Arabic fact-checkers this year, the ability to act not only swiftly, but cohesively can make all the difference when countering misinformation. This collaboration, supported by the tools, will help not only individual organizations be more efficient, but strengthen the collective impact of fact-checking organizations across regions. We are very excited to continue this collaboration, to equip the fact-checkers with the tools and the support. But in closing, it's really important to remember that this work and collaboration isn't just about technology and artificial intelligence. It's also about collaboration and the shared belief that accurate information strengthens our societies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Ooh, it's quite loud up here. As I'm trying to keep from dying under the pressure of all of the technology I'm wearing. So, where would I see the presentation? Okay, so while I'm waiting for the presentation to come up, there we go. So my name is Ross Settles, and I'm going to take a slightly more commentary approach to the topic of trust and technology. So, and my watchword for all of this is kind of the devil is in the details. So technology, as you heard from Fatima and Kate, is a tool. It can be used for good things, it can be used for bad things. And if you've been experiencing the news over the last year, the election news, it has been used for both. So I'm going to talk about technology quite broadly and not just AI. We have some of the journalists, some of the media operators in this room have lived through 4 different waves of technology, right? The 90s, we lived through the internet. Many of the journalists in this room can remember when we avoided using it. We tried to pretend it wasn't there. Then we had mobile social. We had the advent of Facebook and the mobile phone. Many of us may have already forgotten that about 10 years ago, we had the advent of the first blockchain applications, and now we have AI. In each of those situations, we've gone through a period where there's a huge hype curve. It's, as somebody who lives in Silicon Valley, we even have a name for it. It is called the Gartner hype cycle. So as you're looking at these technologies and whether or not you trust them, whether or not you're going to be able to use them for very specific applications like fact-checking or much broader applications, the question is, where are they on this hype cycle? Remember that Silicon Valley in particular goes out of its way to create value by hyping new technologies. So my estimate is Web3 is here. We went through an early hype. Web3 being blockchain, Bitcoin, et cetera. We went through an early hype. We had a recent collapse about 2 years ago. And those of you that follow this technology know that we are having a pretty significant but very quiet resurgence. Bitcoin crossed $100,000 a coin last week, and Ethereum crossed 3,000. So it is a slowly growing technology. And it's kind of growing quietly, and we'll talk a little bit about why I think that's happening. AI, we are at the peak, or maybe just on the back end of the peak of the hype cycle. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic are demanding valuations in the hundreds of millions. Whenever somebody is demanding a valuation, an attention of that much, it's generally being driven by more the news cycle than it is by their actual applications, the ways to use them to do your job. So my challenge to you is to use your journalistic techniques, your journalistic senses, your journalistic skepticism to ask yourself, where are these technologies on the hype cycle and how can you use them effectively? So AI, those of you that have used it and have worked with it, is a highly centralized, scale-based technology, right? You're already seeing big corporations. OpenAI is probably $150 billion in valuation. If you come to San Francisco, we can go visit the campus. This is a company that's less than 5 years old that has a campus that most universities would covet. So it is a very large company. The AI drives very large companies. And the question is, in journalism, in media, more broadly, is where does AI play? So it plays in the, what are the pieces of AI and what are the implications for journalism and media? So first is the training data. You heard Kate and Fatima talk about the training data that they're building, right? Well, that has direct implications on your archives. Many of you probably don't even realize or think about, once you've done a story, where does the story go? But that becomes increasingly important. There are the model parameters. Most of you won't be writing LLMs, so probably not something you need to worry about. Then there's compute, the power, the computing power that goes into creating and calculating the AI outputs. And then finally, there's the output format. Where do you guys play? Probably here, right? So you play as you're creating training data every day. Every day you do a story, every photo you take, every video you create and post publicly on the web creates training data. The question for you is, what are you doing with it? Is it well organized? Is it secure? Is it something that you can create value for your company? And the last is output format, and this can be the media that you output. It can be how you reach your subscribers, if you have subscribers. Some of the best AI applications I've seen are not just in fact-checking, but they're actually in how you use your content to generate revenue from your subscribers, members, what have you. Most of what you see, or most of what I see, again, as a kind of an academic, earlier an investor, is most of what I see in the journalism and media field are efficiency tools, tools that are to make your jobs easier, to make your jobs faster. This is actually a database from Polis in London, and it's quite a long database. It's publicly available. You can get it here on this QR code. And it's a list of all of the use cases of AI in the journalism field. I think it has a couple of hundred records in it. But most of this is about efficiency, about doing your jobs better, faster, cheaper. There are very few examples of creating new types of content in here that I don't see yet. So let me move on to the other, kind of the stealth technology that some journalists, usually journalists that are working in much more difficult or in exile environments, and this is what we often call Web3. This is a very different technology. It's a decentralized technology, and it's really built around communities of practice. So if you think of one as being very centralized, the other is very decentralized. One happens very quickly, the other happens very slowly. So if you think about the time that it's taken to get from the creation of the first Bitcoin in 2008 to today, it's been a very slow process. But in this space, technology is again trying to revolutionize how we do things. So you'll see different companies and different media organizations rebuilding the publishing stack. So what's a CMS? What's an advertisement? What's a community board? How do I manage subscribers? Different communities have very different solutions. So communities built around, say, climate change have one solution. Communities built around documenting culturally rare cultural objects, a completely different execution. It's very slow, it's very incremental growth, but it has reached a point at which the amount of money going into these solutions is quite large. It has a very different publishing model. We're used to stories are created, media is deployed, audiences see the media, and then audiences do something. This is a very different, it's much more of a community approach. And then, so this publishing stack is increasingly complicated, so it is almost a model of what we do today on WordPress. There is a model in the Web3 world. If you do something on Substack, there is a complementary model. The differences are, one is very centralized. If you publish on Substack, you have to have Substack. If you publish on Paragraph, once it's published, it's yours. It's not Substack's. So I'm going to wind up. I don't want to take up too much time on a commentary, but the devil in using these technologies, trusting these technologies, whether it is to make money, to be more efficient, is really in the details. These tools are not, they have no moral standards. They are tools. You can use them to your community's benefit or to your community's detriment. So the question is, think beyond the story. Think about how you're going to use these tools, how the technologies work. Think about tech adoption in your community. Some of your communities will be years from using a Web3 enabled newsletter. But think about the community impact. In some of your communities, it may actually be beyond time. You may be missing stories because the community is ahead of you. And finally, think about sustainability. A lot of these tools have costs you don't see, and you only see them when you dig into the details. So be aware of digging into the details to see the costs and to see the opportunities. And so with that, I'll pass it back to Samia. Oh, say up here.
أدعو فاطمة.
I invite Fatima and Kate to join us on this platform. Thank you very much for this beautiful presentation in which we were introduced to AFCN from ARIJ and Full Fact, to Arabize the full fact tools to be available in Arabic for fact-checking organizations, and to address AI, journalism, and the topic, a financial topic in particular. We open the floor now for questions, in case there were any, or any inquiry. And we can please use the mic at the center of this whole. Questions are, we can take questions from the hall here and from Zoom. Please just raise hands and go straight to the mic. Just a quick question to Kate, Fatima, and then Ross. Kate and Fatima, you have presented these tools to fact-checking platforms. Were there any skills, any particular skills these journalists should have acquired, or these fact-checkers should have acquired in order to use these tools?
Thank you. So I think that thinking about training skill acquisition is really important when it comes to introduction of tools. It's a common misconception that you can take a tool, whether it's AI powered or not, and you can introduce it to an organization and expect that it's going to transform that organization. It's important that fact-checking standards, methodology, systems are strong in an organization, that you have a good workflow, good editors, and understanding of what a good fact-check looks like, because then the tools are going to amplify that good basis. So that's the first thing. You have to work on the fact-checking organization first before you look to introduce a tool. The second thing is that it does take time to acquire skills to use and integrate tools into a workflow. And that's why we were so lucky to have the support of ARIJ and the AFCN to facilitate those workshops, where we spent a lot of time getting to know each other, learn from each other, and make sure that the organizations are able to get the most out of them.
Thank you, Kate, very much. فاطمة سريعا إذا بتحب تضيفي شيء.
يعني هو صراحة
Actually, and to reiterate and add to what she said, in order to have the good basis for fact-checking, it's the ability, the flawlessness to use AI and IT. We cannot use AI while we're not good enough to use and utilize technology in our plans, and to have a clear plan on how to use them. Thank you, Fatima.
Ross, if you want to put your headphones. سريعا جدا تحدثنا عن كل هذه المعايير.
We've talked quickly about all these standards and how we work side by side with the AI and the future and finance and all this. Where does the role of technology platforms and companies work with journalist organizations in order to make sure that they are functioning well?
So how should they, let me repeat the question to make sure I'm understanding. So how should technology organizations work with journalism organizations? Well, I think you see some models. I think the model of Full Fact and ARIJ. For me, right now, especially for AI, but for any technology, the more specific the application, the more direct, the more likely you are to have a success. Or, quite honestly, the more likely you are to have a failure you can learn from. So I would say the more specific, whether it's fact-checking, subscription management, revenue generation, all of those, but the more specific it is, the better the partnership, yeah.
شكرا لك روس وشكرا في النهاية.
Thank you, Ross. And at the end, I would like to thank Kate, Fatima, and Ross for being with us and for this very important session whereby we've addressed AI and its intersection with journalism. Now we'll have a short break, but I would like to note that there's a number of exhibitions that are outside. We'll take a tour and see these exhibitions. So if you wish to join us, I will be outside to start this tour. And the next session will start 15 minutes after. I would like to remind you of the hashtag, wishing you a beautiful day ahead.